Welcome to the Raz Gibby Post Show. I'm your host, Zach Gibby. Again, going for a pre-recorded method. Live stream software is essentially not working, so I'm just going to go back to the good old days of pre-recording tapings. I sound a little bit congestion. I'm kind of getting a bit of a cold. It's not very pleasant. But going to trudge on go through this interesting Raw, so to speak, from yesterday, as I'm recording this, of course. This Raw, a lot of people were saying this was a really bad Raw. I did see the moments where it was bad, but I didn't think it was awful per se. The last Raw review I did was that last Raw I did, which I did a review for, was just awful. Like, This Raw had a little bit of dedication to the product, a little bit of drive, there was some effort put into it. The Raw that I reviewed last time just clearly had no effort put into it. There was none whatsoever. Now, so it was definitely not a good Raw, but I wouldn't certainly say it was an awful Raw. I'd probably say it was a very below average Raw, and especially for the go home show for WWE 2-4 Night of Champions, this was definitely very, very lackluster. So let's just get things started right away on this show. First segment of the show was John Cena and Paul Heyman. I didn't think it was that great of a segment to start off the show. I'm not too happy with the way Cena's kind of being booked right now. I think the storyline for him should be that he starts to go on his downfall. I've been waiting for this storyline, not because I dislike Cena. Like, I think his in-ring character, the wrestling ring character is pretty stale, and it's, For the people that want John Cena to die, you're crazy, because the guy is actually, a really, really nice guy, doing all the Make-A-Wish Foundation, all that stuff. Although this segment really didn't help out his cause on his support for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, because he essentially he supports Make-A-Wish, but he bullies Paul Heyman to get what he wants, essentially. So it's a little hypocritical. But anyways, John Cena is an embodying figure in WWE, and he's definitely very much essential to their product. And the fact that he's able to do all this charity work is great for the company. The problem is his character is stale, and it's starting to wear thin, and more people are starting to take interest into other wrestling characters to get behind, because more interesting, let's say better wrestling skills. Although I don't think John Cena is a bad wrestler. There are wrestlers in WWE that can wrestle better than him, but, he can carry his own in a match. Just saying. I mean, he's had a lot of 4-star, 5-star matches, I'm just saying. He's just what the perfect storyline for Cena right now, if you really want to bring back that babyface reaction for Cena, is to have him go on a downfall. Let's just let him plummet. Let him start losing his stride. He starts to, lose a little bit. He let's say after Brock Lesnar, he starts going downhill and starts losing to other, rising stars. Let's say he loses to a guy like Rusev, that's the next rumored feud. So let's say he loses to a guy like Cesaro, all those guys. Maybe he starts to go on a bit of a tangent, goes downhill, and then, because everybody, the perfect storyline in the States, I find, is that everybody loves to see the guy rise up, then they want to push him right back down, and then they want to see the guy rise right back up through the adversity. And I think this sort of storyline booking could be great for Cena to reestablish himself as a top guy, because he is definitely a top guy, but the crowd reactions for him are starting to become more booing Cena instead of cheering Cena. And so if WWE is able to utilize that to their advantage, so let's say the boos finally just get to John Cena and he just snaps and he says he's going to work on something to help bring his fans back and start going with a new attitude. It'd be interesting to watch, and you'd want to cheer him, and you'd want to see him make his comeback and become, go back into that rising stardom. The problem with that sort of storyline, obviously, is that they don't have another guy that they can fall their back on, in case the Cena thing doesn't work out. And they're trying to establish Reigns for that, but I don't think that's going to work very well. I think Reigns is definitely a future star, but he's not. His wrestling ability is pretty limited when you think about it. He has a bit of charisma, I'll have to admit. Not The Rock's charisma, obviously. He doesn't get it from The Rock, his cousin, but he does. You do want to cheer for him. You do want to, you want to support him and all that. It's just that he needs to add more to his character, and that's the problem with a lot of these wrestling characters going on in WWE right now. So, that in-ring segment between Cena and Heyman, it was not a great way to open the show, but I thought, it's eventually you're gonna have a dud sometimes in a promo or a feud rather. So maybe it could help lead to something in the future, but it didn't really help their build for Night of Champions this Sunday. So the next match we had was Chris Jericho versus Kane. I missed some of this match, but from what I've read, it was not the greatest match either. And what I remember from these guys is that even these guys in their prime didn't really have the best matches, so I wasn't really looking forward to this matchup. And Kane just needs to stick to one gimmick. He shouldn't be Corporate Kane and the Demon Kane. Please stop saying the Demon Kane, by the way. They shouldn't give him that Jacob Goodnight gimmick. I don't care if that's to promote a film or whatever. It's just I wasn't very much into this match, and nothing really happened. Nothing with Orton interfering really. It was just a pinfall victory. It was a roll-up victory, so I was looking for some storyline build, but it didn't really help build up the Jericho Orton feud going into Night of Champions, because as people might have heard, Orton and Jericho is booked for Night of Champions, which I bet you nobody would really notice until Night of Champions, the way they've booked this feud, because it's rather rushed and quick. So the next match we had was Jack Swagger versus Bo Dallas, which I was surprised to see. I thought we were going to see this at Night of Champions. And this match wasn't very good. It's too bad to see the downfall of Bo Dallas. It's not completely over yet for Dallas, but the way he's going, it's not very good. I was starting to dig into the character once he started doing it more and started having a bit more mic freedom. And I think though that Swagger winning kind of shows that they still have some sort of faith in Swagger to get back with his current gimmick, because even I think he could become a mid-card face, a solid guy who could challenge for the Intercontinental title or the U.S. title. U.S. title, you have to put Swagger in eventually, but especially if Cesaro is going to win it at Night of Champions, have Swagger come back and face Cesaro, and maybe you have a double turn in the future if you do Cesaro versus Jack Swagger. This is just coming off the top of my head, but you never know in WWE, especially with this show. You never really know what you're going to get. But it's disappointing to see the downfall of Bo Dallas. Hopefully they give him something to do. By the way, Swagger won via submission, obviously with the Patriot Lock. And so I hope this leads to something in the future for Swagger. As I said before, maybe a U.S. title run, or not a U.S. title run, a title shot, maybe go after. Because I think Sheamus is going to be going soon, going away from the title belt. I think he should drop it very soon. Give Cesaro a bit of a run. They've been wanting Cesaro to turn face and Sheamus to turn heel. Maybe have a double turn there. I don't know. I've been saying a bunch of double turns, but there's always the possibility, eh? You just can't. You can never predict what's going to happen in WWE, as I've mentioned before. And it was just this shouldn't have been on this shouldn't have been on the normal TV. Might as well have it as a pre-show match for Night of Champions. So, and the match itself really wasn't very good. So you never know. It could be something. So next match was AJ Lee and Brie Bella versus Nikki Bella and Paige. Wasn't really looking forward to this match. I don't think there was CM Punk chants in this, so hooray. So this match, typical, Divas match. I would like to see more women's wrestling, but, good women's wrestling. Like, I've been criticized by some people for saying that I support women's wrestling, but I hate the Nikki Bella, Brie Bella segment. The difference between that Nikki Bella and Brie Bella segment and actually promoting the women's wrestling is that Nikki Bella and Brie Bella segment sucks. It sucks. It's one of the worst feuds, if not the worst feud, going on in WWE right now. And it's just... And that's not how you're supposed to build your women's division. And I know it's very picky, people are telling me, oh, at least Divas are getting the spotlight, but it's like putting spotlight on a big pile of crap. Like, that's not really helping them out. It's like, you want to see, like NXT does the women's wrestling a whole lot better. And, the eye candy stuff, may work once in a while, but eventually it gets old, and at least get some actual wrestlers into your division to have some entertaining matches, instead of throwing them under the bus and being that one match before the big world title match. So the women's division needs to be much better. And by the way, women's division, not Divas division. I'm tired of calling it the Divas division. It should be called the women's division. So I would this Nikki Bella and Brie Bella feud. I know people have seen it from my previous rant video, but this feud has just been awful. The Jerry Springer thing was atrocious. It's just and if Nikki Bella wins the Divas title at Night of Champions, God help us all, because that's not the way that the Divas division should roll. I think Paige should hold on to it a little bit longer. They just need to bring up some talent from NXT really badly, because they're trying to push Brie Bella right now as a big face in the division. And a lot of people are reacting more to the AJ Lee face and Paige, and even though she's a heel, she's still getting some good reactions. And Nikki Bella is, in my opinion, not a great wrestler. I think Brie Bella is a better wrestler than Nikki Bella, and I think Brie actually cares a little bit more for the wrestling business, even though both their acting is just pure garbage. But what are you gonna do? So yeah, this women's division just needs to be rebuilt from the ground up, really. But anyways, during this match, Paige and Nikki Bella won via pinfall when Paige pinned Brie Bella. So that's how it rolled. So the next match we had here was Big Show versus Bray Wyatt. Oh man, how the mighty have fallen. Big Show winning via disqualification. I mean, a lot of people have been saying that we're witnessing the downfall of Bray Wyatt. This is just awful booking for Bray Wyatt, and it shouldn't be denied that Bray Wyatt is really getting over with the crowd. People are saying that he's a heel and that should turn face, or he's already a face. He's a tweener, man. There's no way he's a heel. There's no way he's a face. He's a tweener. He's able to go by positive crowd reactions and negative crowd reactions. He's a tweener. There's no way he's a heel and face. he gets mixed reactions, and I mean mixed reactions as in combination of heel reactions and face reactions. He's a tweener. There's no doubt in my mind that he's a tweener, and I think people should start seeing that and really stop saying that Bray Wyatt should turn face, because I think a tweener role for him is perfect. It's the booking of his tweener role from the creative that's not been good. And really, you know, and I remember someone saying this. I believe it was God, who was it? But anyways, I'm sorry if that I took it, but he was saying that Bray Wyatt beat Chris Jericho in a steel cage cleanly, you know, on Raw a couple weeks ago, or last week actually, I believe, as of recording this, obviously. And this week he can't beat the Big Show, you know. It's not good booking for Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt needs to get in a program with something. Like, I personally would like to see Bray Wyatt versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title. I think the Intercontinental title could really benefit from it too. Bray Wyatt will have something to do, because this character is so unique. They can't ruin this character right now. So this match was pretty bad, and a disqualification a win for Big Show was not the smart move in this one, obviously, but you know, WWE, what are you gonna do? So the next match we had was the Usos and Sheamus versus Goldust, Stardust, and Cesaro. This was a pretty good match. Not amazing. It was a pretty fun 3-on-3 tag match. The tag division really needs to be rebuilt, in my opinion, because really the only tag teams right now that Ryback is gone, is Usos, Gold and Stardust, and who else is there? Big Show and Mark Henry, but they've kind of split that up briefly for now anyways. But what else? What other teams there are? There's Los Matadors, Slater, Gator, but that's on the cusp of being a legitimate tag team. And they just need a bit more. They need something to keep the Usos busy, and I guess the Ascension coming up very, very soon. It will probably be really good for the Usos, and hopefully, and it'll be something very, very fresh that we could see, and hopefully this tag division can rebuild for the better, utilize some of those stars that's not really being used right now, and use them, put them in a tag team, bring back Airstrike or whatever it was with Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel. I know Tyson Kidd is doing an awesome job in NXT, really getting over, but I think Tyson Kidd, though he's great at getting over, he's shown that he can get some character. And obviously he's got great wrestling ability. What limits him, unfortunately, is the size factor in WWE, and the size factor really can limit some people, especially when Vince McMahon is still running the company. So I do think, utilize Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, put them back in that tag team, and reform Airstrike. That could be an exciting high-flying tag team that could mix well with the Usos. And I was excited for that tag team because it would give Justin Gabriel something to do, because Justin Gabriel is also a very talented wrestler, and nobody really talks about him being an underutilized talent, when really I think that he should be talked about more, about how really underutilized he is currently in WWE. There's a lot of underutilized talent, really, but what are you going to do? But anyways, this match, not too bad. There were some interesting moments in the match. The one that made me laugh was actually when Cesaro did the 10 beats of the Bell Drum, I think it was called. And then he walked back into the ring. He looked over to Sheamus and said, "Hi, Sheamus." And that was pretty funny. But it was an amazing match, but it was definitely a lot better than some of the matches we had on this show. So, not amazing, obviously, but okay. It was alright. So, next one we had Halftime. Cena calling out Brock Lesnar. Surprisingly, this was not during the main event. I guess WWE thought with Halftime coming in the NFL, that they could get some viewers onto Raw to get this one segment. One segment doesn't create the show. No way can one segment create the show. The show creates the show. The matches on the card creates the show. The segments on the card create the show, not the segment. The segments. The segment for Brock Lesnar and John Cena was... I was expecting more because they were hyping it up. It kind of dragged too long when Cena was talking. And it was... but then when Brock Lesnar came in, things started to pick up. But still, it wasn't very, you kind of see that now. There wasn't anything unique to Lesnar coming out and attacking Cena. It was just kind of the same thing. They brawl, and then security comes out. We've kind of seen that before. There has to be something unique. Maybe they fight into the crowd. Maybe they, all this stuff. That could help set up this feud a lot better. But this was disappointing considering the build-up they were getting for it, but it was not. It should have been better. It should have been a lot better, in my opinion. This was moderate at best, but there should have been a lot more. So, next match, Naomi versus Cameron, and this match will only be remembered for what Cameron. I can't believe Cameron... Man, I can't believe Cameron just... I can't even finish. As some have already known by now, Cameron kind of botched a bit. I don't know if it was part of the character or not, but from judging from her reaction, it looks like it wasn't part of the character, in my opinion anyways. She could be a really good actress for all we know, but she's on Total Divas and, that show. So this match was annoying. Apparently now to get over, you have to yell constantly. This match, and I'm tired of having, Total Divas having to be the driving point for booking matches in WWE. It has to be the women's wrestlers, not the TV show that they come from. So this match was boring. And it was very sloppy as well. It was pretty sloppy. Especially on Cameron's end, it was not very good. So I'm not going to even talk about that anymore. So then we had a tag team match between Dolph Ziggler and R-Truth versus The Miz and Damian Sandow. This match, I don't know really what to say about this. I'm tired of WWE trying to make the joke and force the joke upon us. We get it, okay? It's funny because Ziggler and R-Truth imitate each other, and they're joking that they're exactly alike when really, Ziggler's, Caucasian and R-Truth is African American. We get that. That's funny. Ha 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 ha. But what does this lead? This match really made me mad because I'm tired of these commentators not focusing on the match. I'm tired of it. You're wrestling commentators. You commentate on the wrestling. You commentate what's going on in the ring. You commentate why they're fighting with each other. You commentate so that you can develop the story between two guys. You don't commentate for your own personal stories or for one silly joke that we just get. And it didn't make sense either because Lawler was all of a sudden cheering for Miz, which made no sense at all, and it was like he turned heel there, and everybody was like, oh, he turned heel, but now he's talking face in the next segment, so it made no sense. It made absolutely no sense. It was this commentating team is so subpar. It is so subpar, this commentating team. It's making me cringe. The WCW team was a lot better than this. The WWF Raw's War team was awesome. And everybody knows it. And they were definitely a lot better than this team. Cole and Taz was a much better duo of commentary. You know, people always like to rip on Taz. He's actually not that bad of a commentator. He could be better, but hey, I'd rather take Cole and Taz any day of the week. I mean, JBL, like, they were excited to see JBL come back. I remember, don't think I forgot that, you know, when JBL came back, that new life was going to be put back into the commentating team. You know? JBL has just done essentially the JBL syndrome, as B. Rotten likes to call it. It's just, and this commentating team, I don't think Michael Cole is that bad of a commentator. It's just that the stuff that he's plugged into, the stuff that he gets fed through his earpiece, I think he's actually a good commentator for what he's able to do, and that's a hard thing to do, to be able to plug so many things that's forced through your ear and not talk about the wrestling matches. I think he brings energy, but, you know what, like, it's just, Joey Styles is there. Put Joey Styles in there. Let's just put one match with Joey Styles, and not like a 2-minute match. Let's do like a solid 5-8 minute match, okay, with Joey Styles, and let's just see. I've always dreamed of a Joey Styles, Matt Striker commentary team. I think those two would be an awesome duo, and I think that would be an entertaining, you know, commentary team. But Striker is gone, and Styles clearly will not be coming back into the announce table anytime soon. So we're left with Cole, Lawler, and JBL. Cole, who's being pushed down by plugs. JBL, who's going under his own syndrome. And Lawler, who's way past his prime. And unfortunately for the King, because I do like the King, I think it's time for him to leave the commentary desk. And the WWE NXT commentators aren't even that great. Think about it. Do you really want Byron Saxton commentating your matches? He's not that great. Tom Phillips is in. Renee Young is interesting. She brings some new life. She brings a new mindset to the commentary table. She actually talks wrestling, thank God. So it's freshen something up a bit. Maybe have Renee Young, I don't know, do some sort of commentary work. Just brief commentary work. Let's just see how it works. Do it on Main Event. Go on Main Event. Let her work her magic or whatever. Okay? I'm tired of this commentary team just not focusing on the match. When I want to focus, I want to learn why they want to fight each other. I want to learn the wrestling in the ring. I want to know what moves they're doing. I want to be reminded of what moves. If there's a unique move and I've seen it before but I don't know what to do, I want the commentators to be like, oh, that's a gut wrench suplex, or oh, that's a butterfly suplex, or oh, that's a tiger suplex, or whatever, a dragon Rana. Okay, like I want to see more of that from our commentary team, but doubt we're going to be getting that anytime soon. So next match made no sense. It was a good match, don't get me wrong, but this match made no sense. Why do you book this match on free television 6 days before television, or pay-per-view, sorry. 6 days before your pay-per-view, and you're going to have your match from one of the pay-per-views for free on Raw. That makes no sense. Even the most beginner of a booker knows that makes no sense whatsoever to have this free match. Now, if there was interference, I would have expected it. But this was a clean finish. Reigns pinned Rollins clean. So why do we need to see this match on pay-per-view? I don't need to buy this. I'm not going to be, buying this to see Reigns and Rollins anymore. I already know who's going to win, and that's Reigns. We saw it. He beat him clean. There was no interference. No interference from the Authority. No interference from Orton. No interference from Kane. Nobody. Reigns beat him clean and right in the middle of the ring. So why should I care about this being on Night of Champions? Why should I care? Why should I buy the pay-per-view now? Brock Lesnar versus John Cena should not be your only selling point. It should be one of your biggest selling points, but it shouldn't be the only selling point. That's why you have a mid-card. That's why the mid-card was created. Because you have that big main event match. But then you have the mid-card that, makes the crowd entertained. Makes them watch and be like, get them anticipated. These guys are good, but I really want to see, the main event. That's why the mid-card was created. That's why mid-card titles were created. The U.S. title, the Intercontinental title. All of these titles that have been used over the years, from NWA, from WCCW, from WCW, from ECW, from TNA, from AWA. All these big wrestling promotions, there's a reason why they had those mid-card titles, and that was because the mid-card titles were essentially used to help build up talent that was going to be ready for the future. And that's really... There's no mid-card in WWE. There is none. There's none. It's just a bunch... There's a main event guy, a bunch of part-timers, and I'm tired of seeing part-timers now. Start booking some of your full-timers so that you don't go into these predicaments on how you're going to book a guy on his dates. So it's just part-timers, one main event guy right now, and that's Cena, who's there every day. And then you have a whole whack of upper mid-card guys. And when I mean a whole whack, I mean, like, there must be, like, these are the guys that I think are upper mid-card, currently being pushed. Not opinion on who's an upper mid-card, on who is being pushed as an upper mid-card guy right now. Sheamus, I think he's being pushed as an upper mid-card guy. I think Cesaro he's kind of going down into the mid-card range. I think that Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns, Kane, Orton, Jericho, these guys, I just listed off 8. And there's probably even more. Wyatt at one point, but now he's being pushed for no reason. Lower. It's just, it makes no sense to have no mid-card. You gotta have a mid-card. One show, one match doesn't make an entire show. And that was made really evident at Battleground. Because the main event was pretty good, and I guess the tag team match was pretty good, but the other matches were awful. And that's what people remember, not the one match. So, didn't really like this, the way it was booked, but the match itself was pretty good. So, move to the next and final slot here. The main event spot belonged to Mark Henry and Rusev, of course. Because when I think main events, I can think of Mark Henry, but I definitely think of Rusev, as a main event guy. But whatever. So essentially it's Mark Henry rallying America. As a Canadian, I'm not really into this America shtick. I'd like WWE to push more as their worldwide brand as they want to be pushed. And I understand the American thing and the Russian thing, that's been around for a while, Cold War, all that. But eventually, at the end of the day, Rusev needs to establish something that makes him stand out, because him being Russian and him being the Russian hero Rusev should not be established as just a Russian hero, and that's why, all the American guys and just disrespecting America. There has to be more to Rusev than that. It's essentially the evolution of a wrestling character. We need to start seeing more evolving in wrestling characters. And I think Rusev may soon need to start going into that. So, this doesn't deserve the main event segment. Obviously, the Lesnar-Cena one did, and even then that main event... that segment wasn't amazing, so I'm not going to talk too much more because I'm feeling a little bit stuffed. So that was Raw. This was not a great Raw. I didn't think it was bad per se. I thought the Raw that I reviewed last time was the worst Raw I've ever seen, just because it was so uninspired. But other than that, it was just... nothing good came out of this. It's just lazy booking. realizing that the NFL has come in and just given up. And that's unacceptable. If you're going to just give up during the NFL season, might as well have an off season during that time. Don't even risk it. Helps out with your workers, all that. But whatever. What am I saying, though? I'm a indie podcast host. So. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. I do have an announcement to make. I can't reveal too many details right now, but I do plan on lowering the amount of stuff being posted onto the Gibby YouTube channel, because I'm planning something new, and it's a new podcast that I'm planning to do. I'm not going to reveal too much more, but it's not going to be on YouTube. It's actually going to be on iTunes, and it's essentially just going to be a discussion-driven podcast, just talking raw and all that. There's going to be other people. I'll say more on Twitter, so definitely follow me on Twitter at RawAsGibby. And yeah, sorry, I'm feeling very congested, and my throat is sore, but I'm getting this out for you guys just to get my opinions out there. But anyways, thank you guys again for tuning into the RawAsGibby post show. I don't know if we'll have Friday Night Talk Down this week, probably not. But the debut of the new show is planned to come out late Saturday, early Sunday. So stay tuned for that. I'll reveal more details on Twitter. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. And of course, have a good day.